What went crazy today? So I want to say something real quick. So do y'all remember yesterday when I was talking and I brought up a point? I said, so they found the witness that had previously the defense was upset over. So I'm gonna go back over this real quick so y'all can understand where we were at. So there's this thing called a Brady violation. But first, there was a evidentiary evidence violation. There was a violation on discovery because apparently there was some evidence that the prosecution had that the defense is saying that they weren't privy to. So since they wasn't privy to this information, they couldn't appropriately defend their client. So that's just so we could be clear. So there was an evidence violation. Now, on top of the evidence violation, there was this thing called a Brady violation. Now, what a Brady violation basically is whenever there's a presumed uh, possibility that the prosecution might have been hiding a witness, and now the defense can't get an opportunity to speak to this witness or get an opportunity to investigate the things that this witness has said because this information was either not available or was handed over too late. So that's what a Brady violation is. So what happened is the defense was complaining about this, as they should. I just want to be clear on this. This is something that the defense should be complaining about. So the prosecution was basically saying, we didn't in any way, this is something that's bad. This is not something that we wanted to happen. This was, by what the prosecution is saying, this was actually not a matter that we created. I just want to be clear on this. The prosecution is saying that they weren't denying the defense any of the evidence. This misunderstanding, or whatever you want to call it, has more to deal with. It's like they walk on the whole street. It's like the whole street. I don't know if they're tourists or just rude. It's like the whole street. I was standing all the way over here, fam. I don't know if it's tourists or they just rude. Anyway, in any regard, so the prosecution is basically saying that they were not denying anything. All of this is a misunderstanding. And since this is a misunderstanding, and since this misunderstanding is so bad, we're ready to do whatever it needs to be done in order to be able to remedy the situation. The judge said fine. So basically, what they went and did was they found the witness. Hold on, we're not to the point yet with shit. So what happened is they went and they found the witness. I told y'all this yesterday. They got this homeless lady over there that she arrived as soon as I got here, and she just sitting there watching me. You cannot tell me that they don't have these people following me around, fam. I'm not gonna put her on camera because we don't do that, but you can't tell that they don't have these people following me around. It is, it's crazy. In any regard, so I'm even gonna walk further over. In any regard, so just so we can be clear, the prosecution did everything they can to make sure that they found this particular witness. They found this particular witness, and also to make sure that not only did they find this particular witness, but also they made this witness available to the defense. So now the defense team has the availability of this witness. I believe tomorrow or today, there's going to be a guy that's going to take the stand tomorrow. His name is Detective Dunn. Okay. So there's a guy named Detective Dunn. He's going to take the stand. he's going to speak on this. Okay, so now I just want to make sure you understood what I was talking about. We're discussing a witness that the prosecution lost and did not make available to the defense team for whatever the reason was. The prosecution is saying it's not something that they did on purpose. It was a complete accident. It's not something that they did on purpose. They're kind of blaming the detectives and kind of blaming the fact that this witness wanted to be anonymous. This witness didn't want to testify. This witness was not cooperating. They was uncooperative from the beginning, this whole entire time. So basically, even before, what up, Kyra? Even before I want to acknowledge this, they already said that they don't, the witness was uncooperative. Generally speaking, when a witness is uncooperative, a lot of times that means that, we should take what they say with a grain of salt or whatever they're talking about. So the reason why I'm saying this is because the judge has numerous times mentioned, not in front of the jury, obviously, but numerous times have mentioned that they don't even know the validity, or they don't even know how trustworthy this particular witness's statement is. As far as they can tell, other people are speaking about the statement, so it's more hearsay than anything else. So they allowed hearsay into the trial. I want to be clear on this, because of the two violations. So the judge is doing everything he can to make it so it's fair for the defendant. I want to be clear on this. The judge is jumping through hoops that are on fire to make sure that the defendant is getting a fair trial. I want to be clear about this, because so often, into these courtrooms, and we always hear about everybody hates these judges, and a lot of times it's not the judge you should be hating. Maybe you should be upset at the situation that you're in. Maybe you should be upset at the fact that you were the accused. Maybe you should be upset at the lack of evidence. Maybe you should be upset at those things, not necessarily at the judge. I just want to be clear on this, because we've been in court quite a few times, and we've been fortunate enough to have good judges. We do not have Judge Glanville. He's the worst. He's the absolute worst. I just want to say this. If anybody is, appreciate you, Dean Williams. If anybody is know what I'm talking about with the Judge Glanville, then you get the joke. You are part of the A team. You're a part of the A crowd. Judge Glanville's terrible. And I say all that to say this. Remember how yesterday I told y'all, if y'all wasn't in here yesterday, one of the things I said yesterday is that there's a good chance that the defense finding the witness is going to be more harmful, basically, to the defendant than it's going to be for the witness. I'm going to say this again. Sheesh. I'm going to say this again. The prosecution finding the witness might be more harmful to the defendant than to helpful. Wait, what you talking about, King? Explain yourself. You talking about how nobody knows Shaquem Parker? Nobody knows who this dude is? And he took out Alpo? I mean, I don't know who the dude is. And I don't know if he took out Alpo. Right now, we just know he's on trial for it. That's all we know. We'll find out what happens after the trial is over. However the evidence sways the jury. We don't know if he's actually guilty. Maybe he didn't do it. I have not the slightest idea. We in court to find out. Now, with all of that being said, I want to be clear on this, and I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. I just want to be clear on this. I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. Now that the jury, now that the prosecution, and pay attention to what I got to say, now that the prosecution has found this witness that had been disappeared, that the defense was so worried about, now the defense doesn't want some of what the witness said to be admitted into court. Now the defense fell away. I'm not trying to laugh at this shit, but I saw this coming. Hold on. We're not even. Also, if anybody has been enjoying the coverage, y'all can always pull up to the Cash App, Super Chat, and or PayPal. Nobody bought me lunch like the last 2 days. I'm looking for somebody to buy me lunch today. With that being said, hold on. Remember, always innocent until proven guilty. We're not operating from that other standpoint. That's one. Two, now, allegedly, no, not even allegedly, because I heard her arguing it in open court. The defense has a problem with the witness's statement now and doesn't want all of the evidence associated with the witness into the trial. Check this out. Listen and pay attention. The witness, this particular witness that they just went and found, has now given 3 different descriptions, as per what the judge said, 3 different descriptions for the shooter. I'm not trying to laugh at this shit, man. I'm really not. But now 3 different descriptions for the shooter has been given. This in no way helps the defendant. I want to be clear on this. In no way, in 0 ways, this is, I'm not trying to laugh, this is not funny, but in 0 ways does this help the defendant. This does not help the defendant at all. Having 3, because remember, this is the witness that they wanted found, because this was the witness that was going to exonerate their client. This is also the witness that the detectives ignored, basically, and the defense thinks that this witness's information should have been took with more credence, and the things that this witness was saying should have been investigated further. I just want to be clear on this so you can understand the importance of this particular witness. So now that the witness has, and this is for the judges is saying this, not me, the judge said, gave 3 different descriptions. So now that this witness has given 3 different descriptions, I don't think this helps the defendant. That's just my opinion. I may be wrong. What the hell do I know? But also this hurts the case for the defense, because the defense's argument is that the police just looked at their client and didn't do any other investigation. They didn't investigate the evidence, they investigated the client. And in addition to that, the defense is also saying that they had information about an alternative suspect that they didn't investigate. Now, the information that they just got from this alternative suspect, from this witness giving an alternative suspect, now we're hearing that this witness also gave 3 differing descriptions of the shooter. They show Alpo dead. They show his shit in court, man. They showed his dead, lifeless body, man. They showed it in court. Y'all people are crazy that think that man's still alive. He's not from the Bronx. He's from Harlem. You think because he had a house in the Bronx, that means he was living in the Bronx, that means he's from Bronx? He's from Harlem. They said that in court and made that a big deal. He's from Harlem. He was born in Harlem. He's a Harlem native. You just don't know the area. You're not from New York, so you don't know. That's all. You don't know Bronx and Harlem is like this because you're not from New York. It's okay though. Yeah, it's okay. You don't know. You don't know the Bronx and Harlem is like this. You don't know, generally speaking, there's parts of the Bronx that if you live, you probably spend more time in the Bronx than in fucking Harlem. If you were from Harlem and vice versa. Dappy, you don't know nobody that knows dude. Shout out to that. All right, that don't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about, though. You can keep that kind of shit in the comments, though. I don't care. Dean says, Alpo was your cousin. You've been liking the coverage on it. How you like the coverage on it? Dude can't be from the Bronx and Harlem, but you from the Bronx and Harlem? I'm not even talking to you no more, fam. Incognito said that's what the news was reporting, that everybody thinks he's from the Bronx. Well, saying that makes more sense than what the dude said. No, in court, they cleared it up. They said dude is from Harlem. But if you from Harlem or the Bronx, especially if you from that place, like I live like right where the bridges were. You understand what I'm saying? I live like right there by the water. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's really no difference. You understand what I'm saying? You're in the Bronx, you're in Harlem a lot. There's really no difference. So real quick, Dean, you said you his cousin. How you been appreciating the information I've been giving out over here? Oh, awesome. Appreciate you. There you go. I was waiting for the random threats. There you go. Get out of here. I was waiting to kick that guy. Anyway. Just so we can be clear, so they found the witness that they were looking for. And this, in my opinion, creates new problems for the defense. And the reason why this creates new problems for the defense is because I'm pretty sure in their summation, they wanted to talk about the fact that this witness was lost by the police and by the prosecutors. And I believe that that's one of the ways that they wanted to say, see, you got to exonerate my client because they didn't go look for this evidence. They had alternative descriptions and they didn't do nothing about it. They didn't look into the alternative descriptions. I'm literally just telling you what they said in court. I'm not giving you opinion. I'm not giving you opinion or nothing. I'm literally just saying what they said in court. As anybody that's ever read any of the transcripts of cases that I've done, you've already know. All I do is just say shit that you're gonna read in the transcripts later. I'm not adding anything. I'm not embellishing. I'm not trying to make shit spicy. In any case, any of Alpo's family sitting in on trial. Why everybody always writes trial? Trial is I first. There is somebody in court. I'm not gonna go over who they all might be or whatever the case is. We're not doing that. I am surprised I haven't seen Paparazzi Poe not one time. Is he got a warrant out for his arrest or some shit? That's why he's staying away from court? I don't know. I follow his son on IG and he's so depressed about his bad for him. That's why I don't understand why everybody thinks he's still alive. Who's this everybody that thinks he's still alive, man? Stop that. Everybody don't think that. There are a very small number of people that think that. You was here last week? You saw me, Dean? Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have support. He got support in there. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about. Oh, so Paparazzi Poe is not Alpo's real son. So the dude in court is? All right, that's what it is. Definitely understand that. All right, let's get back to what we're doing. So I want to be clear about this. What time we got? I want to make sure I got enough time. Y'all think I should bring my book out? Y'all want me to bring my book out and read from the book a little? Y'all want me to read from the book a little? Put it in the chat. So I want to say this, and I want to be clear. No misunderstanding. I believe them finding this witness has put a cramp in the defense's strategy, but I told y'all that yesterday. But I told y'all that yesterday. I told y'all that I think it put a crimp in the defense's strategy about, you know, what their argument is. And they actually made a point to say that to the judge today. The defense said, well, you know, there's evidence that wasn't allowed or wasn't supposed to be allowed that got allowed. And now there's evidence that wasn't supposed to be allowed that is allowed, and evidence that is supposed to be allowed that wasn't allowed. And so that's part of the issue that the defense has. Like I said before, I'm about to tell you about the guy they just had take the stand just 2 seconds ago. Oh, we bringing back our newspaper, by the way. Expect for articles to start dropping again. We bringing back my newspaper. I'm going to be the only person writing articles. I'm not looking for anybody else to write articles, but I'm bringing back my newspaper. So yeah, we bringing back our BBN newspaper. I was going through the website just the other day. All right, so with this being said, I'm going to move on to the dude that testified today. He's still on the stand. So basically, there was a objection that was made yesterday. I'm going to speak about the objection. There was an objection that was made yesterday. This was the 32nd precinct in Harlem, I believe. It's in my book. This is the 32nd or the 34th in Harlem. All right, so check this out. They had a dude take a stand, and his testimony is basically he took all of the video, he took all of the evidence, not just the video evidence. He also took the evidence from the phones. He took all of the evidence, all of the evidence that they have, and he compiled a timeline of everything that happened. So he's currently testifying. Dude went out to the scene, walked around the block, everything. So he's currently testifying. So this is the problem that the prosecution has. There is no gun. There is no actual evidence. So they don't have a gun to do ballistics. They don't have an actual witness that they consider to be viable that's saying that they saw the shooter and they saw the shooting, and we know that's the person for sure because we saw their face. They don't have a witness that is doing that. There's allegedly, if you listen to what the prosecution says, witnesses that saw the shooter, could identify the shooter, identified the shooter, but doesn't want to be, they don't want to be involved in this. They don't want to testify. They don't want to be called. They don't want to be used as anything. They don't want to be no parts of this case. Allegedly, obviously. They're not taking a stand. The jury is never going to hear from them. So the only real evidence that the prosecution has are these videos that show these individuals moving from one place to another, That's the only actual evidence that they have. So the defense was objecting to this guy's testimony, but they weren't objecting to, pardon me, they wasn't objecting to the totality of his testimony. I believe they was objecting to some videos he had, and they was also objecting to the timeline. The female witness took the stand today. I'll bring out my book. We could talk about what she said. Give me 1 second. I'm put you in my pocket. Hello. Sorry about that. Hold on. We can go over what she said. She was interesting. Yeah, I'm looking for the. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna set y'all here on this call because I gotta find the page. Give me 1 second. So there was a young lady that took the stand today. She was actually standing by the car, and she says that your man was hollering at her. She was actually standing by the car talking to, remember the witness I told you the other day that was in the vehicle for a moment, and then the shots rang out and she did? So she was actually in the car. She took the stand today, right? So hold on, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened. I'll let y'all know what happened in the beginning of the day first. There's a lot of stuff that happened, right? First, there was a review of the document the defense wants redacted from. So there's a document that the defense wants some stuff redacted from. The defense also had an objection to Danny's IG being used. So basically, you know, whenever you're using the internet, whenever you're using your phone and you go to a page or whatever, what happens is cache is created. So when cache is created, a lot of times cache could be an image. A lot of times cache could be an image. A lot of times cache is just like metadata, and cache is created. So basically, they didn't want, the defense didn't want Danny's IG, Danny Parker IG to be used because they had photos of Alpo in it, and it was 3 photos. One of the photos had to be removed. They didn't want it shown, but the other 2 photos would just had Alpo in it. I think the photo that had Alpo with another person, I think that deserved to be removed. I think that was smart by the judge. It deserved to be removed because, you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to bring more people into the trial that is necessary. So there was no real necessary reason to have the photo with Alpo with another person. Like, it wasn't necessary. You know, I thought that was a good call by the judge. He's a pretty good judge. He's a fair too. Fair shit. The prosecution says they wants to show the jury that Alpo basically had friends. You know, there were people that loved him. They wanted to humanize Alpo basically, and that's why they wanted to show the photo with the friend. But the judge, you know, that's not important here. So the judge was like, nah, we're not doing that, fam. Anyway, judge is like, what's the difference between 2 photos and 3 photos? You just showing photos of Alpo. Like, it didn't matter. In any regard, the defense said they didn't want other people to be affected negatively by being in the photo with Alpo during the trial. I think that was the way to go. Prosecution says they wants to show Danny Parker's IG searches. The defense had an issue with this. The prosecution eventually won out with the judge saying that the defense can actually show the IG searches of Danny. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The defendant arrived at about 10:45. Then they were objecting to the entire exhibit, not the testimony from the witness. So basically, I'm telling y'all today, right? So basically, we're talking, and I'm telling y'all that there's a witness. Sheesh, fam. So I'm telling you, there was a witness, and I'm sorry, I got to start back over. So they objected to the entire exhibit, but not the testimony from the witness. So the exhibit that they're objecting to is there was an exhibit that showed the area that the witness went to and was walking around, and this particular exhibit had a lot of shit on it. It had like arrows and everything else. The defense was like they don't want the arrows there because they're making it seem like things are facts rather than making things, making shit that can't be seen as a fact is a fact. What a Trojan salute. So anyway, all of those arrows and everything had to be taken out. But they was objecting also because they were saying having him just do the testimony is one thing, but if you have the video and everything played the way it is, it's like a second summation, and they shouldn't get the opportunity to do two summations. That's not fair. There should be one summation. I agree with that also, by the way. But the judge basically said that he doesn't agree that it's two summations. They brought up drugs the whole entire time. Hold on. I'll talk about the drug thing in a minute. Hold on. So basically, the prosecution argued that this case has like 160 something or something like that exhibits. So all this individual did was take all of the exhibits and put it together nice and clean, or the pertinent exhibits. All the exhibits is obviously probative, but the pertinent exhibits that they found that was outlining the timeline, and this individual took all of those, put them together, and then after he put them together, now that's what he's bringing to court. So he's not creating evidence. He's just taking the things that we already said are evidence, and he's compiling the timeline of everything that we have already agreed is evidence. The objection was overruled. Like I just told you a minute before I said that. And the judge's reply to this was, you're entitled to present this as in evidentiary form. You are entitled to present this in evidentiary form. Doesn't think that it is prejudicial, just still has to find what the evidence is. The jury still has to find, what the evidence is. The jury decides what's evidence and what isn't evidence. Just because something is said on the stand, that doesn't make it evidence. Just because something is necessarily shown to the jury, that does not make it evidence. So the jury decides what they believe the evidence to be and not be. He says this case is either completely or partially circumstantial, because like I said earlier, they don't have any actual, they don't have the gun, they don't have any actual evidence. There's no DNA, there's nothing like that. So he said this is basically partial or completely circumstantial. The judge also says there's no way for the jury to understand the evidence without the timeline. So the judge basically says that the timeline is important, because how else is the timeline is going to give the jury a better understanding of the actual evidence? It's not creating evidence, basically. It also goes on to say there's no way for the jury to understand. The defense doesn't like that evidence is being characterized, but no way to create a timeline without the characterization. So basically, the judge is saying, he understands that the defense does not like the way that the evidence is being presented, basically, as what it's being characterized by or as. But at the same time, the jury has no way to understand the timeline of things that happen. The jury has no way to understand, what the prosecution is trying to say, because the prosecution's case depends on the timeline. And in order to be able to create the timeline, there has to be some characterization, basically. So they're not changing the evidence. They're not creating evidence. They're not bringing in new evidence. These are all things that we have all agreed is evidence. And being as this is all things that we agreed is evidence, there's nothing wrong with a timeline being created. Sorry about that. Dude was coming through with the music. I had to turn off the mic for a minute. They said that Then they changed the subject because he ruled on that. That's obviously the ruling on it. Then he changed the subject to the 3 photographs, and he basically said there's nothing wrong with the 2 photographs. We're not going to show the 3rd photograph that has the friend in it. The only 2 photographs that's going to be allowed to be showed is the ones that's only Alpo. Then he says, then he changed the subject to the metadata and said that Danny Parker's IG searches, and he says he wants to show Danny Parker's search. They want to show that Danny Parker searched up Alpo on his phone, which he did. We'll talk about that maybe if I get enough time. And then the prosecution says we don't know when the searches were. So basically, the issue here is they don't know when the searches happened. They don't know if the searches happened before Alpo passed away or after Alpo passed away. So the defense has an issue with this because the defense is basically saying, I think the defense is saying if these, defense has an issue with this. If I wrote it down, I don't want to say something and it be incorrect. So the defense does have an issue with this. I'll leave it at that, and then I'll tell you what the arguments were that I wrote. The judge says doesn't show how many searches and when Danny Parker searched for Alpo. He says I need a timeline to make the decision. He says that he will hold a hearing outside of the presence of the jury to decide. So they had a separate hearing going on today, also outside of the jury, to decide on whether they're going to allow for that particular, pieces of evidence to be admitted into the trial. Anyway, so the jury enters. It's about 10:55. The first witness is Miss Cook. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to tell you the whole lady's whole name. She's a chef. That's all you need to know. No need to know age. Anyway, she says basically that she was outside partying the night that Alpo died. She was on the corner partying, hanging out. She says Alpo passed by a couple of times. He was like circling the block or something. She said Alpo tried to talk to her, so she approached the vehicle. He took down her name and number. She said she got in the truck. Then she said someone came up and she jumped out the vehicle. She said she seen the gun and whoever it was had a mask on. That's what she said. Then she said the guy I was talking to got shot, being Alpo. She says she didn't call or wait to talk to the police. She didn't want to be involved. Basically, she says she was asked to testify. She told them no, so they had to subpoena her. Then they shows the video of the lady talking to Alpo. They showed the video in court. We see her. She had like on a cape. Remember, this is like Halloween. She had like on a red cape. They showed the video of her talking to Alpo while he sits in the truck. Then they showed where the witness jumped out of the truck as the shooter shot Alpo. And then the court examination comes. The defense steps up, asks why she testified. Basically, she got subpoenaed. She had no choice. She said she didn't want to testify. She also said she wasn't going to come if she didn't get a ride. So apparently she lives in New Jersey. So she was like, yo, if y'all don't come pick me up, I'm not even coming to court. So take the cop out there to pick her up and drive her to New York. Shout out to that shit. You got chauffeured. Even if they bought lunch. And anyway, there was a stipulation made that if Detective Eric Meza of the NYPD was to testify, I think he's retired at this time. If he was to testify, he was part of CSU. That's the criminal search. Those are guys that come and pick up all of the shit and like the evidence, collect the evidence and stuff. He was part of the CSU and executed a search warrant for the Defense Exhibit D, which is People's Exhibit 9. How much time we got? Dean Williams says that sounds like a lick. Pause. Remember, I want to say a couple of things real quick. Remember when this situation first happened, one of the theories was that Alpo had got lined up. That was one of the theories. I mean, I don't know any of this to be true, and I'm not saying that that is true. I'm just saying that was a theory that people had out there. But there was also another theory that Alpo was banging somebody's girl, and then the guy that his girl was getting banged, the guy that shot Alpo. So there was a ton of theories out there that, you know, was just shit people was making up. Yeah, the prosecution can have anybody subpoenaed that they want. But you do know that there's witnesses that if you subpoena them, okay, so I'm going to give you a perfect example. So remember the witness we was just, she wearing that same outfit yesterday? Remember that witness that we was just talking about that they just found? Now, let's say that witness is like dead set against testifying. They're like, I'm not testifying, fam. Now you call them up and they dead set against testifying. There's no telling what they might say on the stand. Now imagine you got a witness that's dead set against testifying, is that's what they say, and they have also said told you three different stories about what happened. You know, you could get in trouble with the Bar Association if you put a witness on the stand that you don't believe is going to tell the truth. So if you put a witness, for the people that don't know this, why sometimes they just don't even subpoena people or call people. If you're putting a witness on the stand that you believe is gonna lie or you know is gonna lie, you will be in trouble with the Bar Association. Like this is you're not allowed to do that. You could lose your license. I mean, probably for a couple of years, probably permanent. So I just always thought, you know, the fact that they didn't want to call this witness is a pretty big deal. Like they do not want to call this witness at all. I thought it was a pretty big deal. You could do with it what you want though. So you think the witness? No, I'm not saying anybody did anything. Please don't put nothing in my mouth. I don't have a personal opinion incognito. I have zero personal opinion. Please don't put no words in my mouth. I have no personal opinion on whether this dude is guilty. I have no personal opinion on whether he's innocent. I have no personal opinion on if anybody tried to set him up. I have no personal opinion if it was a random situation. I have no personal opinion on anything. So please don't ask me. The only people want to ask me for my personal opinion is so they can start an argument. I don't want to argue, so I have zero personal opinion. Copy? Zero. I didn't even make one. You don't need to ask me what my opinion is. Copy? You decide what you think the information is saying. You decide. Copy? I'm here to give you information. I'm not here to talk. Oh, sheesh. I'm not here to discuss my personal opinions about everything. Copy? What time we got? I gotta go. I got like 10 minutes to get back into the courtroom. All right, we're gonna get up out of here. Got like 10 minutes to get back into the court. Where did that shorty go? She disappeared quick as I need glasses. I need glasses like a motherfucker. It's bad. What's up, fam? All right, regular. How you doing today? Huh? I don't work anywhere. I work on YouTube. What's good? Yes, sir. All right. I used to work at a mica facility, but that was like 8-9 years ago. All right. Yes, sir. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. Yes, sir. The fuck? I told you, people just, I don't know what the fuck that's about. I did used to work at a micro facility, though, before I started doing YouTube. I actually got a promotion right when I quit. Right when I quit, I got a promotion. Like, I was quitting to come to YouTube, and as I was doing that, they were giving me in a promotion. I had to go take like IQ tests and all types of different shit. I had to take mad tests right as I was quitting. Yeah, nah, that's probably just somebody that sent some random guy up to me. They could pretend I'm a drug addict. Remember? They always, you know how they always got these people trying to pretend like I'm doing some weirdo shit. I worked in a micro facility, fam. He probably recognized me. I don't know. That shit was like 10 years ago. I'm not sure when I'm gonna be back with an update. I'm thinking about doing a live tonight. I tell y'all what. Everybody that want me to do a live tonight, pull up to the Cash App, show a little bit of support. Let's encourage. Let's give me a little bit of encouragement today. Usually we don't get no encouragement over here. Usually I just work because I work. Let's show me a little bit of encouragement today. Let's show me a little bit of encouragement today. All right? A little bit. Usually I just do this shit because I'm doing this shit. I don't know what witness you're saying. I don't know what witness you're talking about, so I can't answer that. If I do, only reason why we didn't do a live last night is because I was working with the kids yesterday, basketball. That's the only reason why we didn't have a live last night. I was working with the kids basketball. By the time I got back home, I was just exhausted. That's the only reason why we didn't have a live last night. So yeah, pull up, show me some encouragement. I don't generally get like too much encouragement over here. We just work. We got a couple of people that encourage, but generally I don't get no encouragement to talk over here. Give me some encouragement for today. With that being said, I love y'all. We out. We gotta get back up in here. Everybody have a blessed day. Go out there, do something worth doing, and then do something worth doing, and then stamp God's name on it. I'm out.